What we need is not more medications, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge. This is Exposé coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria, every Monday on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook simultaneously. And I'm your regular host, Tony Akinyemi. Don't forget, what we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge. Hello and welcome to Exposé with Tony Akinyemi. It's another beautiful Monday from Nigeria. I always thank you for joining on Exposé with Tony Akinyemi, where we share wellness information for your health transformation. Our axiom is what we need is not more medication, but more education. For the best prescription is knowledge. This program is always for those who are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And today, as we continue our series on your food and your health, we want to zero in on a class of foods that I consider as cancer-fighting foods. Cancer-fighting foods. Like you all know, I'm not a medical doctor. I am a nutritionist, a theologian, an engineer, but a board-certified holistic health practitioner by the AADP, the American Association of Drugless Practitioners. And the cancer-fighting foods that I'm going to be mentioning today and subsequently, not any single one of them can single-handedly, as a standalone food item, cure cancer. None of them can be a standalone remedy for cancer. They have to be deployed along with other treatment protocols to get treatment outcomes. This is just one of those things to support your cancer treatment. Do not rely on these food items I'm about to mention alone as cancer remedy or cancer treatment. However, it is my firm belief that consuming these cancer-fighting foods can greatly reduce a person's risk of developing cancer down the road for those who are not diagnosed with cancer. And for those who are diagnosed with cancer, it can help to support your treatment protocol. All right? That is why I'm talking about them. Now, I'm not teaching about cancer right now in this series. Hopefully, in the future, I'll be able to come your way with a whole season on Exposé with Tony Akinyemi, teaching on cancer. There's a lot to talk about cancer. But the reason I decided to bring your attention to cancer healing foods or foods that support cancer prevention and cancer treatment are twofold. First, because in this season we are dealing with your food and your health. So it's appropriate to talk about cancer healing foods. All right. And then number two, because the World Health Organization, the WHO, actually stated that around 1/3 of cancer deaths are due to the 5 leading behavioral and dietary risks. 5 leading behavioral and dietary risks contribute to about 1/3 of cancer deaths globally. And the 5 behavioral and dietary risks are, number 1, high body mass index. When people are obese or overweight, it's a risk factor for dying from cancer. Number 2 is low fruit and vegetable intake. When people do not eat sufficient amounts of fruits, fresh fruits, raw fruits, unprocessed fruits, the way God made it, as well as vegetables, particularly raw vegetables, in the form of salads, vegetable juices, smoothies. When people don't take sufficient amount of fruits and vegetables, it's a second recognized behavioral and dietary risk factor for people dying from cancer, according to the World Health Organization. Number 3 risk factor is lack of physical activity, sedentary living, not moving your body, not exercising, not being active. The 4th is tobacco use, those who smoke cigarette. And the 5th is alcohol use. Now, the WHO, at their website, you may want to check it, www.mediacenter/factsheets/fs297/en/. That's the link. www.who.int/mediacenter. The center is spelled the British way, C-E-N-T-R-E, not the American way, C-E-N-T-E-R. It's C-E-N-T-R-E. I hope that link can be provided on the screen for our viewers to see. If you go to that website of the WHO and you click on that link, you will see these 5 risk factors, behavioral and dietary risk factors, identified by the WHO, World Health Organization, as contributing to about 1/3 of cancer deaths around the world. And so I'm picking on the second behavioral risk factor, which is low fruit and vegetable intake. That's a behavioral and dietary risk factor. People who don't eat enough fruits, enough vegetables. And so I want to help you identify the kind of fruits and vegetables that are particularly helpful in dealing with cancer. All right. Now, another website, healthymyths.net. Healthymyths.net. Myth is M-Y-T-H-S. Healthymyths.net. They give what they call free health briefs. At that website also, they stated that unhealthy diet and lifestyle actually account for more than 80% of heart disease, more than 90% of type 2 diabetes, more than 70% of stroke, and more than 70% of colon cancer. So you can see that diet is very powerful in mitigating, in fighting, in preventing disease. Then as another source, I read a particular book. The title of the book is Foods to Fight Cancer. On page 15, these statistics were provided. Number 1, that dietary factors contribute to 30% of all cancer cases. Dietary factors. What people eat, on the one hand, and what people refuse to eat, what they fail to eat. Food that could protect them from having cancer, but they fail to eat such foods. Or foods that can cause cancer, and they continue to eat such food items. So what you don't eat is as important as what you eat. There are some beneficial foods that you should be eating. If you don't eat them, you miss out on the benefit. And there are some disease-causing foods that you should not be eating. When you eat them, you cause disease for yourself. So dietary factors account for 30% of all cancers, according to the book Foods to Fight Cancer. And so today, I want to debunk the myth that is out there, which is usually highly propagated by professionals who should know better, but who sadly and unfortunately almost know next to nothing when it comes to the relationship between your food and your health, as well as food and disease. Now, this is the myth. I've heard many people tell me that their physicians, their doctors, told them that their diet has nothing to do with their cancer, or that their diet has nothing to do with their disease, or that changing their diet is not going to help them in any way to recover or to help their treatment outcome. So they can just eat anything they like. That is a myth. In fact, that is misinformation. And I consider that professional recklessness on the part of any doctor who tells his or her patients that the food they eat cannot help them to fight cancer, or that the food they eat does not in any way contribute to the disease that they have. Now, we know that foods that are high in refined sugar, in refined sodium, as well as unhealthy fats, trans fats, and so on, have been shown in countless studies to influence cellular mutation that culminates in the development of cancer. Cancer cells consume more glucose for fuel than any other cell in the body. Cancer cells are primitive cells. They don't know how to really process glucose and convert it to adenosine triphosphate, ATP, for energy. So they waste a lot of, glucose in the process. Instead of using, oxidation phosphorylation method to convert glucose to ATP, cancer cells, being primitive cells, actually use fermentation method in converting glucose to ATP, which is a very inefficient method of converting your calories to energy. And so a lot of, acid, lactic acid in particular, is produced in the process. A lot of glucose is also waste. Now, conversely, eating a diet of organic foods that are bubbling with vitamins and other nutrients that prevent cellular deterioration naturally increases our chances of preventing and beating devastating diseases like cancer and other chronic degenerative disease conditions. And that is why today we are talking about the foods that are going to be helping us as we fight this very terrible disease, cancer-fighting foods. Okay? And I'll be talking to you about quite a number of different foods and their cancer-fighting properties and why you should be engaging in consuming such foods regularly as part of your strategy to both prevent the development of cancer and, if you have already been diagnosed, the kind of foods that you should be eating more. Again, let me reiterate. Eating these foods is not cancer treatment, please. It is not cancer treatment. Once you start consuming these foods, it doesn't mean that you have started treating your cancer, therefore you should not do any other thing. No. What I'm saying is that whatever cancer treatment you are undertaking, and there are 3 broad categories of cancer treatments you can undertake, and I will explain myself. You can either do orthodox cancer treatment, medical cancer treatment, which is made up of things like surgery, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, hormone therapy, immune therapy. All of those are conventional orthodox medical cancer treatment. That is one type of treatment. Okay? A second treatment is alternative cancer treatment. Okay? It is called naturopathic oncology. In other words, you are not doing the orthodox treatment, you are not doing chemo, you are not doing radiotherapy, you are not doing surgery. You opted to do, to use naturopathic and homeopathic and other alternative modalities. That's alternative cancer treatment. That's a second category. A third category is when you have a fusion of the two. You are doing orthodox cancer treatment and you are also adding some alternative treatment. That is called integrative oncology, integrative cancer treatment. You are combining the best of 2 worlds. Now, the option is up to each individual. I do not dictate to people. I don't recommend to them what to do. I just let them know what is available out there. Everybody makes up their mind and takes their own decisions. But whatever it is you are doing, whether you are doing orthodox treatment, the type 1 or the first type, or you are doing exclusively alternative, or you are doing a combination of the 2, integrative. So let me call it this way. You are doing orthodox, alternative, or integrative. Whichever one you are doing. What I'm saying is that these cancer-fighting foods that I'll be talking about, you can add them to any of the 3 to help you get a better result, a better treatment outcome. That is the whole point. And we're going to go on a short break. When we come back, I will let you know in a nutshell, in a summary form, the things that this food will accomplish in the body of someone dealing with cancer or someone who wants to prevent cancer. And after I've done that, we'll now zero in into the specific cancer-fighting foods. Don't go away. I'll be back very shortly on Exposé with Tony Akinyemi.
Take a second to think. If you could design your future, what would it look like? If you could design a tomorrow where you are no longer stuck, drained, overlooked, what would that feel like? Your ability to raise the lid of your leadership, to go from chaos to clarity, to bring tomorrow to life, is multiplied when you are equipped. The Global Leadership Summit is where leaders gather to learn more from each other, to build accountability, to be equipped to handle the leadership challenges of tomorrow. It's more than an event. It's a community where greatness is forged. Take a second. Then take a step that equips you to design your tomorrow. Register for the Global Leadership Summit today.
Welcome back. We are still on Exposé with Tony Akinyemi, brought to you by TSF, the Shepherd's Flock International Church. And I'm honored to be the lead pastor of that church. Okay, cancer-fighting foods. As we deal with the series, Your Food and Your Health. Now, each cancer-fighting food that I'll be talking about in this series exerts its own effect and supports your fight against cancer, either for prevention or for treatment. Now, the effects of these cancer-fighting foods include, but are not limited to, the following effects that I want to list. Now, every single food exerts its own unique effects. Some cancer-fighting foods will exert one effect, some will exert two different effects, three different effects, multiple effects, but not a single cancer-fighting food that I know can exert all of the effects that I want to mention. And that's why it is very, very unsafe and very, very self-deluding for anybody to be consuming one particular food and say, oh, I'm already consuming soursop, and soursop is treating my cancer. I've seen people who are saying, I'm eating soursop to treat my cancer. Soursop exerts its own effect, but it cannot exert all of the effects. Therefore, in my view, in my professional opinion, soursop alone, or any other fruit for that matter, whether it is spring onions, or it is apricot seed, or whatever it is that you are using as a cancer-fighting food, not one single food item can serve as a magic bullet. And I need to sound out loud and clear again and again and again. Because I hear people all over the place. You advise them to do a number of things and they don't want to do it. They say, oh, I'm already taking soursop. And they say that is enough. I saw a video on social media. The man said he took it for 6 weeks and his cancer was gone. Another one will say, I took spring onion. I took it for 4 weeks and my prostate cancer was gone. Another one will say, I ate apricot seed and in 4 weeks, this one is gone. Come on. Come on. Play safe, please. Anyway, by the time I am done with the bits that I want to share in this series, I'm sure you'll be further enlightened and illuminated and get to understand how these things work. It's a synergy that you want to build with different foods, all right? Now, some of the cancer-fighting foods exert what we call a calming effect. Calming effect. Now, when somebody receives a cancer diagnosis, it's not a funny piece of news. Some people go into depression immediately. Some people become so agitated, so frightened, they fall into anxiety. Some people suffer insomnia. They can't sleep again. It becomes, a mental health issue. So somebody who has just received a cancer diagnosis is not only going to be dealing with the cancer, he now also has to deal with many other mental health issues. Insomnia, anxiety, phobia, fear, worry, agitation, and all kinds of different things that will set in. So certain foods must be eaten by such a person to calm down the person. So you need to eat certain foods that exert calming effects. I'll be mentioning some of them along the way. Now, the food that exerts calming effect is not treating the cancer, but it is calming down your nerves. It's calming you down, dealing with anxiety, dealing with insomnia, so you can relax, so you can sleep. Because again, if you don't relax and you don't sleep well because you have been given a cancer diagnosis, you are aggravating your situation. You are going to be making the cancer to get worse. So you need to calm down. You need to relax. And so certain things need to be administered. So things like foods that are rich in GABA, for example, they calm down. Valerian roots, they calm down. Things like lavender oil, they calm down. The amino acid L-theanine, they have a calming effect. So people dealing with cancer need to consume foods that will calm them down. So some foods will exert a calming effect. Some others will exert a sedative effect to make you sleep. Things like celery. Celery will help you to sleep, because when people have cancer diagnosis, they become, anxious, they become worried, fearful, and they can't sleep again. So they need to be helped to sleep better. So they eat certain foods. I advise them to, abstain from foods that will further agitate them, like caffeine, except they are using it in the form of coffee enema. All right? Then some cancer-fighting foods also exert a diuretic effect. Help them to be able to form urine and urinate properly, particularly people who are dealing with things like prostate cancer. All right? And then some cancer-fighting foods will exert an astringent effect to help to shrink. All right? Then some will exert antioxidant effect to help to fight free radicals. Some cancer-fighting foods will exert what we call antispasmodic effect to reduce or help to remove spasms. Some cancer-fighting foods have what we call analgesic effect. In other words, pain-relieving effect. You can see that all these things I'm talking about, they are not yet dealing with the cancer itself, but they are dealing with some of the things that accompany a cancer diagnosis. Pain, analgesic effect. Some cancer-fighting foods will provide what we call energy-boosting effect, because fatigue can set in. When somebody is dealing with cancer, you want to boost the energy of that person. Some cancer-fighting foods exert antimicrobial effect. They have antifungal effect, antiviral effect, antibiotic effect, and some exert antiparasitic effect, because some parasites are involved in certain cancers. Some fungi are involved in certain cancers. Some viruses are involved in certain cancers. Liver cancer, for example, can be caused by hepatitis, all right? And stomach cancer can be caused by the H. pylori bacterium, okay? And so all of these viruses and bacteria need to be dealt with. You are not dealing with the cancer now, but you are dealing with the things that caused or contributing to the cause of the cancer. And they are all cancer-fighting foods. So antimicrobial effect, antiparasitic effects. Some cancer-fighting foods are good for weight management, because some people lose weight when they are dealing with cancer. You want to help them to rebuild their weight. Protein powder, for example, those are good for building the weight of people as part of a cancer treatment plan or cancer diet, weight management effect. Some cancer-fighting foods are anti-inflammatory in their effect. They reduce inflammation. Some exert what I call the anti-angiogenic effect. I have explained that very, very extensively in the previous episode. Tumors develop blood vessels all over to suck in nutrients. You want to block the proliferation of those blood vessels. So you give food that will block angiogenesis, like shark cartilage, shark liver oil, and so on and so forth, okay, and flaxseed lignans. And then you also give foods that have anti-metastatic effect, food that will not allow the cancer to start spreading to other parts of the body. Things like rosehip oil, vitamin C, grapeseed oil, grapeseed, and then, lysine and proline, amino acids, all of these, and green tea extract. They can help in preventing metastasis. Then you also give food that will modulate the immune system, that will help to bolster the person's immune system so that the immune system can fight the cancer very well. Those are called immune modulating foods. They are also necessary. Then certain anti-cancer or cancer-fighting foods, rather, also help in hormone balancing, the exact hormone balancing effect to help, because certain cancers are hormone-driven. You want to balance the hormones of that person so that the hormones will not be feeding the cancer. For example, somebody may have breast cancer that is hormone positive. Somebody may have prostate cancer that is being, driven and fueled by and fertilized by DHT, dihydrotestosterone, okay, which is a kind of a rogue form of testosterone. You want to block the conversion of normal testosterone into dihydrotestosterone, otherwise known as DHT. There are certain foods you will eat that will block that conversion. So it helps in balancing those hormones in your body. They are called hormone balancing food. Then certain cancer-fighting foods help in detoxification, to remove toxic waste from the body, particularly toxic metals like aluminum, like lead, like mercury, like cadmium, like arsenic. You want to get them out of the system. And so there are certain foods you eat, things like cilantro, that can help you to remove those heavy metals from your body. All right? And then certain foods will help to alkalize. They have alkalizing effect on your body. Certain other foods have oxygenating effect. They help to increase your body oxygenation. And then there are certain cancer-fighting foods that have anti-neoplastic effect or cytotoxic effect. In other words, these are the ones that are actually targeting the cancer itself and destroying the cancerous cells. Okay? Gingerol in ginger, curcumin in turmeric, and many, many other such. They actually have direct effect on the cancer itself. So you can see that the different foods that people eat actually exert different effects on the body, and all of them work together in synergy as a team to help whoever is dealing with cancer. Let me repeat, there is no magic bullet. No one food or herb or supplement can boast of being able to cure or reverse cancer, because no one food can exert all of the effects that I have highlighted. Each component exerts its own effect so that they all have a cumulative and synergistic effect at the end of the day. So whatever treatment you are undergoing, let me go over it again, whether you are undergoing orthodox cancer treatment or alternative cancer treatment or an integrative cancer treatment, in which case you are combining orthodox treatment with alternative treatment for better effect, for better outcome. Whatever treatment you are undergoing, just make sure that you are also eating foods, okay, that contribute to a good outcome, a good result, to increase your chances of beating that cancer. Don't eat anything you like, oh. Let me say it loud and clear again. If you are dealing with cancer and your doctor tells you eat anything you want, that doctor doesn't like you. I can tell you free of charge. You don't have to pay for that. That doctor does not like you. Eat anything you like. Please don't eat anything you like. This is the question I always ask. Now, somebody who is not sick, who is not well, who is not sick, who has not been diagnosed with any disease condition, somebody who is perfectly fit and okay, and he wants to keep it that way. Even that person who is not sick, can you advise that person to eat anything he likes? That's a big question. Somebody who is not sick, can you tell that person to eat anything he likes? Now, people who are not sick, who are health conscious, are even careful about what goes into their body. Because what goes into your body is going there either to fight or fuel disease, either to cause disease or to fight disease. Even when you are healthy, you shouldn't eat anything you like. You should be health conscious, you should be intentional, deliberate, and you should be sensible and wise in your food choices. How much more someone who is dealing with a life-threatening condition, and then a reckless professional is telling him or her, eat whatever you like. That's professional recklessness, in my view. And I'm calling out such people who have been engaging in such reckless advice to please stop. Desist from that recklessness. Get yourself educated about nutrition and the role of nutrition in wellness and well-being. Get yourself educated, okay? What we need is not only medication. In addition to medication, we need a good diet, good lifestyle choices. That is how to have the best outcome. There are many proverbs out there, particularly from different cultures. One of them says, he who neglects diet only wastes the time of his doctor. He who neglects diet only wastes the time of his doctor. Another one says, if you do not eat your food as medicine, you will end up eating your medicine as your food. Okay? Another one says, when your diet is correct, then medicine may be of no need. But if your diet is wrong, even medicine will be of no effect. Okay? So your diet, your lifestyle, and your medical treatment, they all go together. Please do not neglect one for the other. Just because you are swallowing some capsules and some tablets or you are receiving some injections does not mean that you should be reckless with your diet. Now look at what the Bible says. Even the Holy Bible weighs in here. Isaiah chapter 55 and verse number 2. I read from the New Living Translation. It says, why spend your money on food that does not give you strength? Which means there are certain foods you should not eat. Any food that will not give you strength, don't eat it. That's what the Bible is saying. It says, why pay for food that does you no good? Which means there are certain food items that will do you no good. Why should you be spending your money to eat that? If for any reason you need food to help you recover. And so you should not eat food that does you no good. And the Bible concludes, Isaiah 55 verse 2, New Living Translation. It says, listen to me, and you will eat what is good, and you will enjoy the finest food. You can read that again, Isaiah 55 verse 2. Why spend your money on food that does not give you strength? Why pay for food that does you no good? Listen to me, and you will eat what is good. You will enjoy the finest of food. All right. So one of the easiest things that people who are fighting cancer need to do is to address their diet. And a rainbow diet is the most helpful diet in fighting cancer. Any diet that is rich in red food, orange-colored food, yellow-colored food, blue-colored food, green-colored food, all the colors. And the best rainbow food I can think of is your vegetable salad. Okay? And different cancer-fighting foods can each play a role in fighting one or more steps in the multi-step cancer process. Now, I have not talked about specific cancer-fighting foods now. Next week, God willing, as I come your way, same time on the same platform, I will start with taking the food items that can help you to achieve any of those effects one by one. So, as we sign off today, let me remind you that what we need is not more medication, but more education. For the best prescription is knowledge. You could see how passionate I suddenly became when I started talking about these kind of things, because I hear all kinds of reckless statements that really get me angry when those who should know better advise their patients to just eat whatever they want. Please, don't take advice from such reckless professionals henceforth. Educate yourself, do your own research, and you will see that what I'm saying has its roots in scientific studies. Thank you. Have a terrific week ahead of you. The Lord bless you. The Lord enrich your week. And if you are dealing with cancer, I pray for you that God's healing touch will touch you where you are, and you will overcome and have victory, have a testimony to the glory of God. I love you. Bye.
Take a second to think. If you could design your future, what would it look like? If you could design a tomorrow where you are no longer stuck, Drained? Overlooked? What would that feel like? Your ability to raise the lid of your leadership, to go from chaos to clarity, to bring tomorrow to life, is multiplied when you are equipped. The Global Leadership Summit is where leaders gather to learn more from each other, to build accountability, to be equipped to handle the leadership challenges of tomorrow. It's more than an event. It's a community where greatness is forged. Take a second. Then take a step that equips you to design your tomorrow. Register for the Global Leadership Summit today.